So today's video is going to be on disassembling and cleaning this carb we took off of that Sea King that we're trying to get started. So stay tuned, keep watching, and you'll see how we got this carb cleaned up. While you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. So let's start with the bowl. Nice and loose. See what we got in here. I actually have an old carb rebuild kit that I've used to salvage stuff off of. I may be able to use some parts there, at least gaskets maybe. But I've got this bowl. I'm going to put everything in there. It's a little dirty. We can clean that up. That actually looks to be in pretty good shape. Hopefully just a good clean and we'll get this guy going again. That's jet. I'm not sure if that's the high-speed jet or the low-speed jet. Hard to see, but there's an intake tube inside of it. I'm afraid to actually do anything with that because the likelihood or possibility of damaging that is pretty significant. And the other side of that tube comes up in here. I'm not going to be able to replace that because I just don't have the pieces for it. So before I do anything on this idle mixture screw, I'm going to see how many turns out it is. One and a quarter. Unfortunately, I could not find a rebuild kit for this carb. That's alright. I actually may have something where we can get in here. We'll see if we need to. I'm going to take this off. Now this is interesting because what I can tell is somewhere along the line somebody over tightened this for some reason because this rod is bent. I can probably straighten that out. I don't know if I should or not. I think I will though. It shouldn't be that hard to straighten out. Alright, I've got my safety glasses on. I'm going to get some carb cleaner out. I don't want to take this thing down too far. Well, there's some small openings in there, and I want to make sure that those are open. I'm not quite sure how I can get the cleaner in there. Try to get some fluid into those little holes. They're probably idle. Actually, I'm pretty sure they have something to do with the idle, because with the throttle in the fully closed position, those jets are exposed. If it's open a little more, a third jet, they do have something to do with that. So let's see if the idle mixture will squirt some out from there. Actually, it does. That's perfect. So that's part of the idle circuit. It's really, really hard to see, but looking in there, there's a little notch right there. And if I open that the idle, you may be able to see those holes. Those holes, I believe, are where the fuel comes in during idle. The idle mix screw where it sets in leads directly into those holes, so I want to make sure those are really clean. So you can see some of the fluid coming out of those little holes when I squirt it in through the idle mix port. Now, one reason I'm doing this in this container is that this stuff will eat through a lot of crap, including wood, cardboard, delaminate stuff. The other reason is the fluid will build up in here, so these small little jets and parts, I can actually let them soak in it too while it builds up in there. So my biggest concern, if you can see it in here, is that tube going up and down, trying to get that clean. That's for open throttle. That's where the fuel is going to come out of. It's a fuel pickup tube, so I'm going to focus on that a little bit. Well, it's open at least. Whether it's metering or not, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But this jet should actually control the amount of fuel that's going up into that pickup tube. I think that's as clean as it's going to get. So now it's time to get it back together. Put that in there. The interesting thing is it does not have, it's gravity operated basically. So as the float drops down, this will drop down, allowing fuel to fill the bowl. That will in turn lift the float up and stop the flow of fuel. So that you have a flooding condition. What's interesting is that most of these carbs have a little spring clip that holds onto it. This one doesn't. This one's just gravity operated. So let's put that pin back in there. So typically what you want is for this to hang slightly below. And what that does is that when fuel level elevates it, it'll stop the needle valve, put it in its stop position, stop fuel from flowing. Alright, let's get this back together. Put the open throttle jet in here. Should be fairly clean. Not really a lot to this guy. Get the idle jet in there. Now I'm going to put it in a fully closed position and open it up 1 1/4, which is where it started at. And we can adjust that once we get this engine started. Notice I sound really optimistic because I think we will get this started. 1/2, 1 1/4. Really not a whole lot to this little guy. This is going to go on with this in the left position as I stand here, and that's to give the float room to move. This gasket looks to be in good condition, so I'm not going to try to replace it out of that parts kit. That would be 1/4 ugga-tugga, technical terms. I'm going to try to straighten this out. So let's see. I'm just going to put it in a vise and apply some gentle pressure to it, get it straight, put it back to its original shape, because I'm pretty sure that's not it. Let's try to do that. I'm not going to try to bend this. I'm just using the vise itself to straighten it out as much as possible. If I were to try to bend this using the carburetor, it would probably break it. Actually, there's no probably about it. I'm sure it would. No, it's a little straighter, but I'll hit it a few more times, and maybe we can get it completely straight. If we don't, I'm not going to worry about it too much. It's still functional, so So I took it to the big vise, and that actually looks like it worked now. It's not 100% straight, but at least it'll come in and out of this unit here. So the next thing is the throttle control. Actually, the best way to do this is just take this out. That's one of the reasons I wanted to fix that. Makes it a lot easier to put back together. Plus, it's an added plus. It's operating as designed. Let's get this through here. And we'll tighten it up. We'll have to adjust this once we get it on the back on the engine. And the way this throttle works, the linkage from the throttle is not directly connected to the carb, but there's a plate which I'm sure controls the timing as well, and that plate pushes back on the throttle as you advance it. So we'll get this adjusted later though. Let's go ahead and get this back on the boat, wait for the fuel hose connector, and we'll do the grand start. Alright, so we've got this Sea King carburetor, really a Chrysler Outboard engine, cleaned up, ready to go. We're going to go ahead and get it mounted. That'll be in this video right here. Then we'll go ahead and do the startup procedure, and hopefully we'll get this thing running. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, hit like, share. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.